Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with
Aaron.
Alright, so show us what you're going to be deck profiling for us today.
Alright, I've got Naturia Runic.
Naturia Runic, interesting.
Went third place today with this at locals, and yeah, just going to show it off. Start with 3 Naturia Camellia, 3 Naturia Mole Cricket, with 1 Sunflower.
Alright.
These are kind of the main monster counts for Naturia monsters specifically. So this one, on normal or special, Foolish Burial's a Naturia card. And then if an opponent's monster is summoned while it's on the field, you can non-targeting bring back a Naturia monster from your graveyard. And it's also a level 4 tuner, which in this deck is really handy because you can do like a lot of synchro plays. You can make your Stardust Charge Warriors, your Coral Dragons. Sometimes you can make Baron with this. It's just a very good card. Just like usually you're dumping your Sacred Tree to search for extenders.
Yeah.
Mole Cricket is crazy. While it's on the field during the main phase as a quick effect, so you can do it during your opponent's turn, you can tribute it for cost, summon a Naturia monster from your deck. But if your opponent controls a monster with the highest attack on the field, you can summon 2 instead.
Really?
Yes. So if you're doing that, almost always what you're doing is summoning Sunflower and Camellia. Camellia has another effect, actually, I'll bring it up now, that if a Naturia monster is going to tribute itself to activate an effect, instead of that, you can just mill 2 for the cost instead. And, and what this does is you can tribute this and the Naturia monster to negate a monster effect and destroy it, and it's not once per turn.
I just love that card art too.
Yes.
It's adorable.
So what you can do with this, if you have these 2 on field, which you can summon with this, you can negate a monster effect and mill 2 as cost, and then you can do it again. Well, you can't. The mill substitute is only once per turn, but on you can just like negate and destroy a monster effect twice, and you're also milling 2 with this.
I gotcha.
It's really crazy. Like setting this up, like especially like after the battle phase or something, and they like can't beat over these for whatever reason, is just so strong. It's so hard for them to like play through it. This one also has an effect that if a Naturia monster, extra deck monster is summoned, or an opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, you can just revive this back from your graveyard.
I gotcha.
So if they like breathe, you bring this back on their turn, you tribute it, bring back these 2 from deck.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just really crazy amount of advantage you can get from these cards. And then the rest of the Naturia package, we played Blessing and 3 Sacred Tree. So this kind of makes the whole deck go round. So this is kind of a brick, but if it's sent to the graveyard at all, it is a mandatory effect, and not once per turn, you search a Naturia card. So you're almost always sending that off of this to search for a Naturia card. Also, if you're playing tier and they like mill 5, and they mill like 2 of these, for example, you can go channeling 1 Sacred Tree, 2 Sacred Tree to search 2 Naturia cards.
Oh, nice.
Because it is not once per turn. This also
it reminds me a lot of Toy Vendor.
Yeah. This is also not once per turn, and this card is nuts. You can search this off of this, and it is a quick play spell that can summon a Naturia from hand or grave, non-targeting. But also, you can use it to quick effect Synchro. I actually used this today. I was playing with Coral Dragon, and I had Camellia on field, and I used this. I affected Coral Dragon. You can discard a card to pop something. They had Skill Drain up, so I affected Coral Dragon, targeted Skill Drain, and then I chained this to Synchro away the Coral Dragon, so it's no longer on the field. So the Skill Drain was popped, because Skill Drain only affects monsters that are face up on the field. So this card's really crazy, really versatile. Just helps you Synchro climb. Yeah, just very good.
I gotcha.
And then we are playing some Shizu cards. Just the shufflers. We're not playing the mill cards. The reason we don't is we don't really like mill super often, like only for like your Naturia effects sometimes, like Beast and things like that. But if tier mills you, you can hit your Sacred Trees, you can hit these, and it's just like so much value and just like so much interruption. You can like interrupt their plays while also getting advantage, and they can't really interact with your graveyard very well. Like their shufflers don't really mess with you very much. The only thing it really bothers is the Runic cards, but that you can play around that at the very least.
Yeah.
But these cards are nuts. Just being able to like shuffle 3 back just as a quick effect while they're in grave or field is just very, very good.
I gotcha.
Very strong. And then we got 3 Magnamuts and 3 Druis Worm. So these are not only just very good, just generic cards in general. They're DD Crows on legs. And also this one searches for any dragon during the end phase from deck or graveyard. And this, if it's sent from field to grave, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard.
I need to pick up this package for my Dark Magicians.
Yes, these cards are bananas. And
they really are.
They work really well in this deck because you're playing a lot of level 10 synchros and you're playing a couple level 4 tuners. So you can make your Baron and your Cheng Ying, which is what I'm playing in the extra deck. I'm kind of just spoiling the extra deck as I'm going along with this, but they're not just DD Crows. They're also just extenders in this deck, and you can just use them for synchro material.
I gotcha.
They're very good. We're also playing
really good.
Beatrice, so it comes up with that too, because they're all level 6. And then here is the Runic package. We got a lot here, so we'll just go like a few at a time. So we're playing 2 Fountain, 3 Tip, 3 Destruction, and we'll just hold off on the rest for a second. So Fountain. Fountain basically says during your opponent's turn, you can activate Runic quick play spells from your hand. So you can activate all these on your opponent's turn from your hand. You don't have to set them. Plays a bit around like Harpy's Feather Duster and stuff like that. And once per turn, a soft once per turn, if you activate a Runic quick play spell, you can target up to 3 Runic quick play spells in your graveyard, put them on the bottom of the deck, and draw that many cards. So something else that happens a lot, especially if you're like in a grind game and you're milling a lot with your Naturia cards, you'll like mill a bunch of Runic cards, and like every turn is a draw 3. Like, it's just really crazy, and like that's both players' turns as well.
Yeah.
And really crazy. And when we're going over the quick play spells, they all have the same second effect. People sometimes get confused by that sometimes. They all have the optional effect to special summon a Runic monster from the extra deck. But they also have a primary effect that will do something and then banish a certain amount of cards from the top of your opponent's deck.
All right.
So this one will search any Runic card, and then will banish 1 from the top of your opponent's deck. This one pops a spell or trap, and then banishes 4 off the top of the opponent's deck.
Banishes 4?
Yes. This card is pretty crazy. I was actually playing against like a stall deck today, like basically Mystic Mine 2.0. Not Mystic Mine, obviously, but just a new variant, like Tyrant's Throws, I think was what it was called. And this card came in clutch. I think like he tried to call Prohibition on this, and I think it worked a couple times, but I was able to out it. But yeah, and I think the second game we just use these cards to like mill out. Whenever you get in a grind game like that, you just banish their deck until you mill them out. But yeah, this engine is very good. Like just being able to use the Runic cards as extenders on top of everything, like this. Hugin is a level 2, so you can use like that and Camellia to make a Stardust or a Coral Dragon depending on what you need. Or sometimes you can make like Coral Dragon and this, and you can make Cheng Ying and Barone. And it's just these are very versatile cards and just really, really solid. I think these cards are going to be like really, really good, just for the foreseeable future. We've got the rest of the package here. So we've got Freezing Curses, Flashing Fire, and Slumber. So this one is basically Imperm, and then banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. This one is just popping a special summon monster your opponent controls and banishing 2 off the top of their deck. And this one is really interesting. This one, you target a monster on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects once this turn, and then banish the top 3 of your opponent's deck. But also the monster that it targets cannot attack that turn. So sometimes when I'm like sitting on like small dinky guys like Camellia and Sunflower, they will like try to like normal summon something and like try to beat over, and then as soon as they go to battle phase, I just make it so they can't attack, and then they have to play through like 2 monster negate and destroy cards, and they're also dealing with like the Runic cards as well. So just very, very strong. The package is just really, really crazy.
Believe it or not, until this day, I have not actually read what Runic stuff does because I just couldn't afford it.
Oh, I also did not mention the very important fact that all of these cards lock you out of the next battle phase. So you
Okay.
have to skip your next battle phase. They seem probably really strong if you don't know about that. That kind of keeps them in check a little bit, but that's why you can keep drawing so much. It's kind of just like a balancing mechanic.
That's why Runic Mystic Mind didn't really care.
Yeah, exactly. But in this deck, like, you're just getting so much advantage from like your Sacred Trees and your Naturia cards and just like grinding out your opponent that it doesn't really matter.
All right.
But yeah, okay. So we'll go to the extra deck next. So we're playing 2 Hugin and 1 Jerry. Yes, the name is Jerry. So for this one, this is probably your best one. You go into this one so often, Hugin. On special, from any of your Naturia cards, remember, you can just summon any of these. You can discard a card and then search for Runic Fountain. So you're just searching for the field spell, and like so often, like the best combo in the deck is a a Runic card and pitching Sacred Tree to search any of your to search the fountain. And then on resolution, you're just, activating Sacred Tree. I feel like in the past, when I've played Naturia, the biggest problem is like bricking on Sacred Tree and having no way to get rid of them. And this engine solves that problem completely. It is so nice. Really, really good. And then also this, if anything would be destroyed by a card effect while this is on the field, you can just banish it to protect it instead. And the way this works, it's like very, very hard to interact with sometimes, because like I said, it plays around like Harpy's Feather Duster before, right? So like if you have Fountain and they Harpy's Feather Duster, you can chain any of these to summon.
Yeah.
And you can like bring this out, and in the middle of the chain, you can banish to protect the field spell.
All right.
So it's just, very, very cool. Very hard to interact with. They can't like impermit or anything in the middle of it. It's just really, really cool. Jerry is mostly just an extender in this deck. Just a level 4 extender that you need sometimes, but also on summon it can add back the fountain from graveyard to hand. That comes up sometimes. And then also when it is destroyed while on the field, you can just pop something on the field. Neither of these effects are once per turn, by the way, which is really interesting. Sometimes you can just search 2 field spell for no reason.
I got you.
It's very good.
So Jerry is very good, but it's not the best Jerry, being Jerry Beans Man.
Yes, agreed. Not as good as that. And then for Synchros, we've got Naturia Beast. This card is bananas. Obviously, this is not once per turn or once per chain spell, negate, and destroy, and you mill 2 in the process of it. So if they activate 5 spells, you're going to negate 5 times and mill 10 cards.
Amazing card.
This card's crazy. And
I actually used that as a boss monster in one of my Tri Brigade builds.
Oh yeah.
I love that card.
What's very good too is that like this is like the perfect star line, 4 and 5 or 4 and 1. So, and what's great about this, if you have both, you can synchro into this, and this will just revive itself for free because of its effect.
Oh, wow.
And then you can just tribute again to summon another Camellia from deck.
All right.
Which is very, very good. Very, very strong. There's that. And then some of the extenders here, the level 6s. We play a Coral Dragon and a Stardust Charge Warrior. The main effect of Stardust Charge Warrior is that it just on summon draws you a card, but it also has the effect that it can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each, which comes up sometimes, but you're usually not removing things with a battle phase in this deck because of the restriction of the Runic cards.
Yes.
Coral Dragon, I said before, you discard a card to pop a card on the field, but also when it's just sent from field to grave, you get to draw a card. So just like using that as an extender to like make Barone or Chenking, which I'll just go ahead and go into that. It's just very good. And then you have these, which are Chengying is a house in this deck.
I cannot wait for the Baron reprint.
Yes.
I might actually be able to get a copy.
Baron is really, really good, but Chengying, I feel like in this deck especially, is a house. You are banishing so many times. There are like, sometimes you're not playing against like Tyr or something like that, where you have those shufflers in grave, but they banish themselves for cost from the grave to shuffle things back. So if someone's like trying to beat over your Camellia or your Sunflower, you can just, in the battle phase, shuffle things back, trigger this, and banish the card that's about to beat over him. Like, on top of all the Runic cards, on top of that. Like, it's just really, really crazy. And, like, you're also banishing cards with the Runic cards, banishing cards off the top of your opponent's deck, You can trigger it from that way, and then all that time, this card is getting huge. Like, I think this card got to like 5k at some point, and it's also subtracting your opponent's monsters by the same amount that it's being increased by. It's just crazy. And everyone knows what Baron is. Baron's popping in a gate is just a very good card.
Very good card.
Comes up a lot, but just I feel like in this deck specifically, Chen Ying is just really, really good.
I gotcha.
We're playing Asa as well, Nightmare Unicorn, and Access Code Talker. You know, these are just sort of generically going for game. Asa comes up more in the tier matchup. You can bring back their Shizu cards to like make synchro plays, synchro and like Xyz plays. And yeah, it's very easy to go into this deck. Your deck also inherently, I didn't even mention this, plays around Bestials. Like you have like basically 0 targets other than like Hugin and Jerry.
And your other Bestials.
Yeah, and the other Bestials, but they like rarely come up. But like this, being able to go into this is just so easy. And yeah, you can just keep extending that way. Hasn't come up too often, but I think this is like pretty mandatory so far. I can see this coming up for sure. And then these, you know, they're just, whenever I have my battle phase again, just like having my billion bodies on field still and being able to just go for this is just very, very nice. Being able to go for this, very easy. And then for the Xyz, got Dweller, B tier, Dugaris for your really bad hands, Baguska for Flu, and then Beatrice for your Bestials.
Oh, that Beatrice is beautiful.
Yes, you gotta go with his rarity. The gold rare does not look really good to me.
I agree.
But yeah, Dweller, you know, lock your opponent out of the graveyard. It's like pretty good, I've heard, especially in this format. Dugaris, you're most always using this to draw 2 and discard 1, and then what you can do is you can pitch your Sacred Tree off of that, and then search with that. So it's like just a plus inherently. Baguska, you know, put a defense, make your opponent cry.
Yeah.
And then Beatrice, you know, just a free Foolish Burial. This one is like pretty versatile in this deck. Sometimes I'm literally just like activating a Runic effect to, you know, fill up my graveyard to draw with my fountain. And sometimes I'm just dumping a spell to have another target for fountain to draw an extra card. So sometimes this just says draw an extra card, which is just really cool. But yeah, that is the whole extra deck. And let's go into the side deck. So we've got the Gamma package here. It's very good against just a whole lot of decks. I used this today against Flu specifically. They tried to shifter me. I said no. And yeah, just sort of a generically good card. Love it. They're playing 2 Veiler. We're doing this because this doesn't conflict with our Bestials, whereas Imperm does. I think Imperm's a better card because it plays around like triple attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Veiler is just, you know, it's almost as good. And also, you don't have to play like kind of weird sometimes where like you have to use the Imperm first before you can Bestial. It's just, it comes up. And we're playing 2 because, you know, we're trying to play an even amount of like cards. Yeah. And then we're playing Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood.
Interesting.
It's just a really good extender. You just can go for better plays with it, and I'm kidding. This is just for time. This deck goes into time a whole lot.
I bet Callie, the Callie Effect's excited to see that being used.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this deck, without your battle phase, games with this deck can go very long, and people will just not surrender even though they're like a terrible position. So sometimes you just gotta drop it. I don't know what to tell you. I hate playing it, but I mean, you gotta do it with this deck. Then we're playing a throwback 3 Dark Hole.
One of the best side deck cards of this format.
Yes, I love this card right now. This card is really crazy. This came up in Flu. Yeah, it's just a good going second card. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, if your opponent gives you a monster, bye-bye monster, and you can continue your plays.
Yeah, it came up against, I played Dark World today, and just like, wiped their field. Like, it was just kind of crazy. Very, very good. And then the Twin Twisters. We don't like Floodgates here. I played against that Floodgate deck, and these came in immediately, and they came clutch. And being able to just pitch your Runic cards or pitch your your sacred trees to search again is just generically good. And yep, it kind of just fits in with the deck.
All right. So, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
Just shout outs to Team Shank, the best team around, you know how it is.
Of course. And then, of course, shout out to Bud's Place for letting us do our Yu-Gi-Oh! Here as well as recording. Well, that being said, anything else you'd like to say?
No, that'll be it.
All right. So, that being said, be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think of the deck profile. If you guys really like this video, be sure to subscribe. And that's about it. See ya.